Welcome to In the Closet. We have a guest with us today.
Yes, a very special guest I've known since I was a little girl. Today we have on the podcast my very dear friend, Brad.
Good afternoon, ladies and germs. We interrupt your regularly scheduled program to bring you this announcement. I hope you're enjoying this global pandemic I've set loose on the world. Oh, too soon. All jokes aside, stay inside, people.
Yes.
I love that. Welcome, Brad. How are you?
Awesome. Thank you for having me. You guys ready to nerd out with me?
Yes. Because it's stuff that I do not know anything about.
I'm telling you, it's a lot of fun, and I would highly encourage you to check it out. So, there's Comic-Cons all over the country. There's even one in West Virginia. They call it Mountaineer Comic-Con, and it's going on. The earliest one I was able to find was in Morgantown, West Virginia, and it's in September of next year. So but they have these all over. I've been to Indianapolis Comic-Con several years in a row because I lived there before moving to Dayton. They have a pretty good one in Louisville. Cincinnati does it. Of course, San Diego's the biggest one. But these things are huge. They bring in a ton of people, and it's a great way for adults to kind of let loose. And it's fun for the family, too. The kids get to dress up and go out there and see it. And, we grew up with a lot of these characters, and anytime you get to dress up like a cartoon character, to me, that's a good day.
Right. I know that they had them in Atlanta. Have you been to that one? Because we saw them.
I have not. Atlanta has a huge gamer convention as well. And with most of these gamer conventions, there's cosplay that goes along with it also. I have friends every year that live in Louisiana, Arkansas, Texas. I met them when I was stationed at Barksdale Air Force Base in Louisiana. And they come up to Indianapolis for an event called Gen Con every year. Gen Con is like the third largest gaming convention in America, brings in around $70 million to the community when it comes into town. There's roughly 70 to 80,000 people that attend. So all these people are getting hotel rooms. All of these people are getting bars. They're eating at the restaurants. It's just huge events for these cities. And it's a ton of fun. It brings along a lot of entertainment as well. So, right. But Atlanta, the point I was getting to there is Atlanta has one called Dragon Con. And
yes.
It's huge too. So some of my friends have been.
What's the difference between Dragon Con and Comic Con? I know this may be a question.
So Dragon Con and Gen Con, and there's one in Columbus, Ohio called Origins. Those are gamer conventions. So basically these people who play role-playing games, and I don't get into that part of it. I just do the cosplay, but I do have friends that do get into that part. So they go there to lock themselves in a room, essentially, in a building, essentially, with 60,000, 80,000 of their closest friends, and they play these role-playing games for 4 or 5 days straight in some cases. You're talking events going on 24 hours a day. At any time of the day, they might be asked to go play in one of the events.
Oh, so, wow.
Yeah, so that's your gamer conventions, and they're huge. Now, with the Comic-Cons, that's more centered around pop culture. So you'll have people dressed up like superheroes. You'll have people dressed up like, people from The Walking Dead or video games, just any part of pop culture you can expect to be represented there. And they'll also have entertainers. So it's not just nerds in costumes running around pretending to be superheroes and supervillains. They'll also have stand-up comedy acts. There's several different groups that tour with these. One of them is called Penguin Knife Fights, and they do a lot of improv comedy. They'll do a lot of physical comedy. They do a lot of fan interaction. There's a group called Designated Debaters. They dress up like superheroes, and then they'll debate topics with one another, and there will be a mediator also dressed like a superhero. Either she'll determine who wins or fan applause will determine who wins. But it could be subjects from, which superhero would be which superhero in a fight to, which superhero would be a better lover and why. you know, a lot of the questions come from the audience. So it's a lot of fun just hearing the creative minds throw some out there. And they'll have PG rated shows and they'll have rated R shows later at night so that, you know, they get a little more vulgar. You know, you're talking about why you don't want to get finger banged by Wolverine. And so it's just a lot of fun to listen to the creativity and the content. You know, the people that are in the audience are into the content, and chances are they've thought about some of this stuff, so they're excited to be able to share their opinions on it. I've seen a circus. You know, they'll have circus entertainers show up at these events. So usually the day will start at around 8 a.m., maybe 10 a.m., depending on what day. And the actual scheduled events will go until about midnight, but the convention center is open all night. So one year they had these acrobats dressed like Spider-Man, you know, a sexy contortionist dressed like Catwoman, you know,
Nice.
the Joker standing on a ball juggling swords. You know, I mean, it's just very cool. So even if you're not so much into the superhero scene, it's really cool to see all of the different events that they have, like the comedy shows. They do sell beer there, so you know, a lot of times the participants are pretty tanked. It's just a good time. Everyone has such a positive attitude. Everyone's there for fun. I've never seen any trouble at any of these events. And, you know, you're talking about shoving 40 to 60,000 people in the same building and nobody's fighting or anything. Is pretty cool.
That is cool.
So the Comic-Con is not, I always thought that it was just superhero themed, and you're saying that it's not, right?
Right. So do you guys watch Walking Dead?
Jeff did. I can't stand that show.
I did, yeah.
Okay. Do you remember Merle?
Oh, yeah.
So Michael Rooker, he also plays Yondu in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
He was there last year. Of course, you know, he covered a lot of material about Yondu, but he also covered a lot of material, you know, audience participants in the audience would ask questions about his time with The Walking Dead. It's big into Star Wars. You know, there's a huge Star Wars presence there. Literally anything you can think of, from Super Mario Brothers to, you know, some of the Japanese anime is huge.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, you cut out, Jeff. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I was just saying, I've heard that the Japanese anime is huge.
Yeah, and they have demonstrations. They'll do lessons as well, so you can learn how to lightsaber fight. And they legit teach a class and teach these people techniques, and they show up with their lightsabers and they go at it. They'll have classes to teach you how to make costumes. They have an event hall where they sell all kinds of different paraphernalia, costume accessories, comic books, fan art, erotic fan art. I mean, anything you can think of that has an association or can somehow be associated with pop culture, it's going to be there. There was an amazing costume of Walter White from Breaking Bad a few years ago, and he was walking around giving people bags of rock candy, blue rock candy.
Oh, that's cool.
Funny.
I like that.
So I mean, it's a really fun experience, and everyone is excited to take pictures with you. And I mentioned that there are some celebrities that show up. Ric Flair was at Indianapolis Comic-Con last year, so you know, a lot of wrestling fans showed up for that. Sons of Anarchy. You guys watch Sons of Anarchy?
Oh yeah, loved it.
You remember Clay, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Ron Perlman. So I've got a pretty embarrassing but somewhat legendary story involving Ron Perlman. So he was doing a panel, and like I said, we drink there. This Joker costume has a little vest with just enough pocket to hold 2 beers in each pocket. So very convenient. So, you know, me and a couple of my friends stroll in there, and I decide that I'm going to ask Ron Perlman a question. I had to wait in a long line, had a beer in my hand, and 2 beers in each side of my vest because I had just reloaded. So it gets to about 2 people before me, and I decide that I'm going to look respectable. And keep in mind, I'm already pretty far into the day. I'm going to look respectable, and I'm going to sit these beers down on the ground so that I'm not talking to this professional actor with booze in my hand. As I leaned over to put my open beer down, 2 of the beers fell out of my vest, hit the ground, and exploded. Beer everywhere. It got all over the people next to me. I thought for sure they were going to come and take me out of there. But to their credit, they didn't. So I rushed to start picking up the glass from the beer that had broke. A nice lady in the audience ran over with a towel and started helping me wipe down the floor. And as I bent over to pick up the glass, the 2 bottles from my other pocket fell out and exploded.
No.
They still didn't escort me out. I kept my composure. My friends that were there with me, for the record, did not help one bit. They stayed the hell in their seats and acted like they didn't know me. So I get up to ask Mr. Perlman this question that I had been waiting and humiliated myself to ask. And I was going to ask him about a role that he played in the live action version of The Tick. I don't know if you guys caught that in the 90s. It was awful. Patrick Warburton played The Tick. It was hilarious, but it was just a really poorly done show. Well, Ron Perlman had a cameo as a character named Fiery Blaze, and he had on his little tights with his little flames on it, and he had a very effeminate sidekick. Kind of gave off vibes like they were homosexual, but never went there. But I asked him about his role as Fiery Blaze in The Tick, and he looked at me dirty and said, "Next question, please."
Oh no!
It was amazing, but you get to interact with these actors on a personal level in some cases. Dozens of people got to ask him questions, and he answered them and gave his perspective. And the same with Michael Rooker. I sat in a panel with one of the creators of the Punisher character. I can't recall his name right now, but that was an amazing, just kind of hearing how that was supposed to be a one-time throwaway character and ended up turning into, one of Marvel's biggest superheroes. So
interesting.
Yeah, very, very cool experiences.
So tell me, I'm interested, Brad, what made you want to get into this? Like, where did this start?
Yeah, so, all of us grow up loving superheroes, right? We all see the superheroes and we either want to emulate them or we somehow feel empowered by some of the lessons or some of the things that they're doing. So, that's part of it as a kid. You're always into that kind of stuff. But I had never done it before. I was stationed in Okinawa, Japan with the Air Force, and Comic-Con rolled through there. And we were like, hey, let's go check this out. And I'm an attention whore anyways. I'm sure you guys have probably seen me in various strange apparel throughout the years all over social media. So, that part alone appeals to me, just the attention that you get. But I checked it out in Japan, and they had it on base, and it was very small scale, but it was super cool. And I just thought, you know what, I'd love to do that. We got to Indianapolis and saw that it went through there. And my ex-wife, my wife at the time, we decided we were going to go do it. We took my son to it. I dressed like Gambit from X-Men for that particular one.
Okay.
My Gambit costume's pretty on point too, even with the red contact lenses. So, I do up my costumes pretty good. This gave me an opportunity to be creative. It gave me the opportunity to get the attention that I sometimes enjoy. You're literally, when you have a good costume, you're taking 5 steps and somebody else is wanting to pose for pictures with you. So that's a lot of fun. Just getting to be silly. We spend so much of our time being serious. I've been in the military for 18 years. I spend enough time being serious. Whenever I get the opportunity to cut loose and dress up like the Joker or Gambit or any of the other various characters that I've dressed up as and hang out with similar-minded people that enjoy doing the same things, it's a blast. And one of the other perks is when you leave the convention, 10 or 11 o'clock, and you stroll out into the streets and start hitting some of the bars. You guys have been into the Wild Beaver, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
When the Joker walks into the Wild Beaver, he drinks for free. It's either the bartenders buying you drinks or the people in the crowd buying you drinks. So Joker doing karaoke is a whole different scene that you ain't seeing every day.
That's awesome.
So that's a lot of fun too.
So to answer this, what because I feel like the Joker's like your niche. What made you pick the Joker? Because that's what you normally dress up as.
Yeah,
right?
I've done the Joker a lot. One of the things I love about it, he's a fun character anyways. But one of the things is that you can be very creative. There's been so many variations of the Joker over the years that you don't have to pick a certain look. A lot about this is accuracy of the costume. But with the Joker, you have so much freedom with that. and other characters as well. But I've taken various aspects of the different Jokers that I grew up with and the more modern Jokers, and I've kind of made it my own. You know, I've got the kind of a more traditional old school Joker look, but then I went and incorporated the Heath Ledger scars.
Right.
Which is, so I don't know how well you can tell, but I take this liquid Maron, this stuff right here. It is a rigid collagen. So what it does is it actually causes your skin to shrink up a little bit in the area that you apply it. So it indents my cheeks, so it makes the scarring look a little more realistic. And then you of course, take the lipstick and you take some eyeliner and smear it in there and kind of make it look like scarring. And then throughout the day, it'll start to flake. So then it actually looks like your skin's peeling in that area. So it starts to look a little more authentic. But I love that aspect of the character that, Heath Ledger made real popular. And, I've got the thinning hairline of Jack. So, he's just a fun character to play. I enjoy kind of the insanity aspect of it. So.
Yeah. And that leads me to ask, okay, so when you're at these events, is everyone in character the whole time?
So not the whole time, and some people take it a lot more seriously than others. Like me, I'll go in and out. I can't stay in character all the time. But there are people that you'll see them, they won't break character anytime you see them in public. So there's some people that take it very seriously. They've got the voices down. They know all the lines from the movies. So I'll memorize a few things here and there, and then I'll just, go in and out of character as I see fit. Usually if somebody's recording, I'll say something, with a voice or whatever. But,
sure.
Yeah. So, but it's a lot of fun to see people that are able to completely act out their characters. And these costumes, my costume is pretty decent, but some of these people spend thousands of dollars and months creating their costumes. So the year before last, I was in a costume contest just because I wanted to experience it. I didn't really expect that I would win. I'm pretty self-aware. I got a good costume, not great costumes, but they would go into detail how each person created their costume and how screen accurate it was, down to just every minute detail. So it's super cool to see the commitment that some of these people go into for these events. There's people that travel around and do it professionally as well. So they get paid by sponsors to show up at these events.
Oh, very nice.
In their characters, yeah.
That's what I was going to ask, because I know that as big as it is, and then you got celebrities showing up, but I'm sure I've seen on Instagram some people that are just normal people that aren't celebrities, but they look like they should be the character.
Absolutely.
Makeup and their outfit looks like they paid ridiculous amounts of money to get put into professional makeup to do it. It's pretty incredible.
Battery died. My phone was charging, or it was plugged in, but it wasn't charging.
That's totally fine.
All right. We back live?
What?
We're back.
Yeah, we're back.
On. We're recording.
So what are we going to fix the screen?
We're going to fix the screen.
So what I was going to say is I really feel like I could see myself getting into that, because I, like you, like to dress up as well. Like Halloween time's my favorite time. I'll have like 4 different costumes I'll wear at 4 different times sometimes. I love it. I think I'd
love to take you guys along. You would have a blast.
I would totally dress up. I would totally get into character. I don't know what I'm sitting here thinking, like, I have a great Catwoman costume. I could wear that. I mean, I get excited about stuff like this. Yeah. Isn't that weird?
And it's so empowering too. I know that sounds funny, but even me, every time you get on your costume and you walk into the place, you're a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
I had a pretty good walk of shame last year. I mentioned that sometimes the Joker drinks for free at the local bars. So one of the local bars, I'm not going to say which, but the bartender and the bouncer pulled me to the back room and lined up shots for me. So I'm pounding these shots with the staff there. And rolled out of the bar at closing time, got lost going back to my hotel room. was praying that a police officer would stop and ask what the hell the Joker's doing walking to downtown Indianapolis. But I eventually found a cab and got back to my room, went to sleep with my alarm set with the intentions of getting up and meeting up with friends and doing it again the next day. Well, my alarm didn't go off. Well, it did, but my phone was dead. So I woke up in the hotel at like 1:30 p.m., two and a half hours past checkout time. Had to walk to my car to get my car to bring it back to the hotel so that I could throw my luggage in it. Did that, put on my Joker makeup in the car on the way back to the hotel to grab my luggage, and then went in. And it was kind of classic because I still looked like Joker, but I looked like a really beat up version of the Joker.
Right, you know what? It happens.
Yep.
It happens.
Hey, and it's a great story.
Yeah, it was fun. You can see people clenching their children as I was walking by on the way to get my car.
That is so funny. Oh my gosh.
But the cities go all in. The restaurants, a lot of their staff is dressed up. Even the local strip clubs get involved. So you'll have strippers up there dressed like Harley Quinn or, like any other. And I don't typically frequent strip clubs, but I do make it a point to go to one every time I'm at a Comic-Con because it's just fun.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Where is the best one you've ever been to?
Well, I've only been to the one in Japan, and then I've been to Gen Con in Indianapolis, and I've been to Comic-Con in Indianapolis.
Oh, okay.
And of course the biggest one is in San Diego. That one, from what I hear, has several year waiting list to get actual tickets to the events. So
really?
San Diego Comic-Con is a huge event. But if you get a minute, jump on my Facebook page and look at any one of my Comic-Con albums that are on there and look through the costumes. That might help you think of some costumes that you want to try out.
Oh, that is awesome.
That's crazy. I can't believe that there's a year's waiting list to get into the one in San Diego.
Yeah, it's a huge event. That one, it's pretty common for celebrities to dress up and not let people know that they're going. You'll see celebrities, and sometimes they dress up as themselves, as characters that they play. And
that's funny. They'll say like, "Oh wow, that person really looks like this."
Really looks like Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
And it may actually, in fact, be.
Right. And you do see some characters where they are so dead on who they're supposed to be playing. It's fantastic. It's just a lot of fun to see.
Well, let me ask you this. Which ones are coming up soon? Have any been canceled or postponed?
Yes. So the Indianapolis Comic-Con was supposed to be April 10th through the 12th. They canceled that pretty much right away. I applaud everyone that made the big decisions right away, even though it cost money. They've rescheduled it for the end of June. I want to say the 26th through the 28th. Personally, I think that's too soon. I'll pay attention to what's going on and what the experts are telling us. But, if there's still a heavy risk, which I suspect there will be, I bet that one gets rescheduled again.
Right.
Gen Con, the gaming convention, that is in August every year. So I will 100% be going to that as long as it's up and running and safe. Like I mentioned, I've got buddies in the South that come up for it every year. We do it up pretty big there. We'll party it up, and then we'll go to St. Elmo's and have a nice steak.
Nice.
That was one of the spots. I don't know if I recommended to you guys when you were there or not, but that's one of the best steaks you're ever.
I think you did.
I feel like you did.
I'm almost sure you did. One of the places to go, and we didn't get a chance to go.
Well,
there.
It's a bit pricey too, but it's worth it at leleast once for sure.
We can't wait to go back. We really enjoyed Indianapolis.
Oh, it's a great city. I totally miss it there. And I love that it's a big enough city to where it has huge events like this, and it's a small enough city to where everybody is friendly. It feels like a big city with a small town personality. So that was always one of my favorite things about Indianapolis.
It was really neat. It was a really great place to go. It'd be even better in the spring.
That's what I was going to say.
It's just,
oh, yeah. Well, the outside bar scene is fantastic, and when it's not cold, it's fun to walk from all of the different bars and the restaurants. And the convention center is where they hold the Comic-Con, and it's just perfectly centrally located to where there's fun places to go in every direction.
Oh yeah, we wanted to see more, but like you said, it was kind of cold. It was kind of rainy, so we just like picked a place, went, and maybe we went to the place next door. And that was about it. We didn't get to walk around a lot.
Found some pretty cool spots.
Really, really neat coffee shop we found. I forget what it's called.
Well, that bar was really cool too. I forget what it was, but
Yeah,
it was like a hotel style.
What was it called?
Yeah, I can't remember right now either, but I know I sent you guys a link because there was a live performer there, and a friend of mine was bartending.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so we had a great time there, but
something in, I just can't remember.
Yeah, we loved it there. I definitely want to go back when it's warm.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Well, you guys should plan to come out there for Comic-Con, and we'll.
Yeah, I know.
We got to
get out there and party up.
Yes.
We've got a guide, so we know we'd have somebody to hang out with at least.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I've got a pretty strong group of friends out that way too that are a lot of fun. But what else is on your mind regarding the cosplay and the different events that go along with that?
Yeah, well, you touched on some of it because I always wondered what goes on there. But you kind of said that there's classes, it's like seminars, so it's like a conference type thing.
Yeah, there's dozens of rooms that they have events going on in, and there's a schedule, and I would guess there's probably over the 3-day event for Comic-Con, I would guess there's probably, 500 different things that you go to.
Wow.
It goes on all day long, and there's dozens or more rooms where it's going on. Some of the things they'll hold in Lucas Oil Stadium for overflow if there's not a convention room for it. I mean, there's just so much going on. And everyone gets to participate in their own unique thing that they're into doing.
So is it something like, that you sign up for? So I'm sure you pay to do this, right? You pay.
Yeah. So tickets last year for, so you can go for free. If you just wanted to go wander around and check out the costumes, that doesn't cost you anything. But if you want to go into any of the, I'm sorry?
The general public can go in and just kind of chill.
And just wander around. Take pictures, all that's fine. But if you want to go into any of the actual rooms where there's specialized events going on, you have to have a badge. The badge is relatively inexpensive. Usually it'll be, like $20 or $30 per night. But if you buy a 3-day pass, last year I want to say it was $62 for a 3-day pass for Comic-Con. So very inexpensive. And you can literally keep yourself entertained all day long.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, the beer is expensive,
Oh, is it?
So it must have sucked to drop all those beers.
Well, the trick is you get a reservation early enough, and you get a room at the hotel that's attached to the convention center, and then you sneak the beers from your bedroom. If anyone's listening that puts this event on or sells liquor there, I don't do that, but I've heard of other people that do.
Yeah.
Pro tip.
So, but yeah, I mean, I don't mind waiting in line. You wait in line and grab a beer or a Long Island iced tea. Pretty decent bar. And when I say it's expensive, it's not much more expensive than the local bars are. It's fairly reasonably priced.
Yeah. That's awesome. I like I said, I mean, I've never, except for seeing what we saw in Atlanta, I knew nothing about the event. I didn't nothing.
We didn't know how
all.
big it was. We didn't know how.
Yeah.
Well,
and Comic-Con is more restrained to your locals. People don't come out of they don't really travel too far for it because there's similar events that are going to be in their city. Indianapolis has Comic-Con, they have PopCon, they have Gen Con. So major cities are going to have a lot of these things rolling through. But the gaming conventions draw people in from several states away because there's just not as many of them. They're more spread out. So Comic-Con usually brings in around $2.5 to $3 million to Indianapolis every year, where Gen Con brings in approximately $70 million to Indianapolis over that 4-day period. So you're talking huge revenue.
So when they had
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, so when they had to cancel this last event, that's a big hit.
Yeah, it is.
Hurts all
And
the
there
local.
were already vendors that had invested, that are going to set up there, and they pay to be there. The comedy act. So there's a lot of things that have to be rescheduled. The actors that are going to come to it, they all have to reschedule. And for now, they're rescheduled to the end of June. But the Gen Con, it's bringing in people from several states away. $70 million is just, when you think about what that can do to the local economy. It's just amazing. They bring in employees from other states. So, they'll bring in, if it's a chain restaurant, they'll bring in employees from neighboring states to work the event. Even the dancers at the strip club, they bring in dancers from other states. So,
wow.
I'm sure there's strippers that specialize in Comic-Con. They might run a circuit.
So, all right, I'm gonna narc myself out here. I got a lap dance last year, and giving the Joker a lap dance is a blast for any girl. So I got a lap dance last year, and I did what every guy does. You make conversation with the girl because you're trying to not seem as pervy as you are. She was telling me that she's a lawyer in Cincinnati, and I don't know if that's true or not, but she said that she goes and does that for these events because she can be inconspicuous, and there's huge money in it during these big events.
Oh, God. That is great.
I bet there is huge money in it. And it's, everybody has their thing, right?
Right.
It's kind of like what you were saying about for you is dressing up and going in there, being a little nervous, getting that rush. That's what it was for her. She's just a pin-up lawyer.
Just a normal girl that wants to dance naked in a Wonder Woman costume.
Which I completely support.
Me too.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. That makes me laugh.
So if you were to dress up as Batwoman or Catwoman, what would Jeff do?
I don't know. Jeff doesn't like to dress up. That's the thing.
Oh.
I mean, I could be coerced, and if there's drinking involved.
Yeah.
It's fun. I just don't know. I don't know if I'd want something to cover my face like Spider-Man. Or if I'd go with Batman, or
I don't know. I don't see him dressing up. You never dress up. Like for Halloween, it's normally just me that dresses up with the kids.
I dress up. The Halloween's where I dress up.
Well,
gotta step up your game, big guy.
Well,
I do. I really do.
Actually, we did. Not this past year, but the year before, we did go to a Halloween party, and we dressed ourselves as skeletons. We did the face paint and everything. You're right.
I like doing the face paint.
You know what I did that same year, and I don't know why I like this, but I bet a lot of people do this. Is that pop art that they put on their face?
Mm-hmm.
You look like you're out of a comic book. I should send you a picture. You will be so human. You'll be like, you did a terrible job. And I did my own makeup. And
I was shocked. It looked like it was like I couldn't believe she did it.
I'd have to try to find it.
Supposed to.
But I did a pop art thing, and I wore a Flash T-shirt, and that was my Halloween costume.
I thought it was
fun.
good.
Yeah, so I would love it. I don't know what we would dress up as, but I think that we should consider it. I think that we should give it a try one time. Maybe just say that we did it, right?
You only live once, right?
I agree.
Yeah. Worst case scenario, you look like a fool, you hate it, and you never do it again. Best case scenario, you have the time of your life and you do something you've never done before, and it's an amazing experience for you.
I think that we should. I think I have never made a bucket list, but maybe that's the first thing I put on my bucket list is to go to one of these, dress up, and do the thing.
Wow.
I think it's
fun. I might have to support this idea.
I think we should do the thing whenever
this all Jeff, goes. You can't say that you would hate seeing her in a Catwoman costume.
No, I'll do whatever I need to do to get her back in the Catwoman costume.
I have a whip and everything to go with it.
It's very nice. You have to practice dressing up a few times, of course.
I think I want to go with something different.
It is important to do a dry run or two, Jeff, for sure.
Thank you. See, take notes.
That would be fun to go all together, because who would have thought back in kindergarten, because, Brad and I have known each other since about kindergarten, that we would go to a Comic-Con convention together. That would be funny.
Be crazy.
Well, I told you at the reunion, and I don't know how coherent I was, but I told you that you were my favorite part about riding the bus in grade school.
Yeah.
So she was always so nice, and not everyone was.
Right.
I always appreciated that and remembered that.
Thank you. I love that. That is
cool.
So great. That's so funny. Well, Brad, we're going to probably have to wrap it up here. I got to go teach a virtual class. Now all of my trainings, because of all this, is now virtually. So
I have a class too, and it will be on Zoom, and I pray that the instructor doesn't have me on camera for any reason.
Oh, that would be that would be so.
It's going to be pretty hard to explain why I'm quarantined in my house dressed up like the Joker.
Yeah, he's going crazy. He's losing his mind.
Brad has officially lost it. But thank you so much for coming on and talking to us. And we'll talk again. We'll do this again. And definitely when all this is over and we figure out dates and stuff, I'm serious. I want to do it.
Let's do it. Yep. I will give you an invite to everyone that I have coming up that I'm going to go to.
Please do. I would love to do it. If it's feasible, we will do it.
Yep.
Thanks for doing the.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on. It was a blast.
Good.
You got it, man. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.